Good morning. It's Mary Kay from Country Music Matters, and we welcome Arkansas
Born, Oklahoma raised.
Oklahoma, soon-to-be superstar, James Robert Webb. Good morning.
Oh, hi, Mary Kay. Thanks for having me on. I'm tickled pink.
You're tickled pink? Oh, I don't think I've heard that before.
Surely not. Yeah.
But I appreciate it every time.
No, it's a big deal for me.
So, you got all these people from Oklahoma, Garth Brooks and all. When you see these artists and when you or have been on stage with someone, and your education you take from these people and put into your career.
Absolutely. I mean, there's not like they all talk about the School of Hard Knocks and stuff. There's not a university degree in music, but that's really how I got into all this is studying. I got into this by studying those people. I mean, to put it that way. Garth Brooks is an excellent songwriter, great at picking it out. He's perfect with how he treats his fans. I mean, that's why I'm a Garth Brooks fan. Ronnie Dunn, one of the greatest songwriters, I think, from up there, I think Claremore, from around where I live. You got, goodness gracious, the songwriters there, Roger Miller, lived in Oklahoma a long time. Toby Keith, Vince Gill, Carrie Underwood, Swan Brothers, So there's a lot of things you learn from them just by hearing their songs. I mean, sometimes when writing songs, you just kind of, you hear it, and so you hear enough, and you kind of pattern. I don't know. You just kind of learn how to do it. Kind of like you watch your daddy paint a fence, and then you know how to do it. So.
Now, I'm not trying to pick favorites here, but Out of that group, have you ever interacted with any of them, or been on stage, or who would you like to?
I think for me, Garth Brooks to me is like kind of the epitome of the artist. And, I don't think there's been anybody like him other than, say, Taylor Swift. And, I mean, some of the new artists coming up are getting that way, which is an exciting time in country. But, he's just a nice guy. See, I live in Tulsa. So my house is probably about 25 minutes from where his compound is, and because he probably has to keep everybody away. But he's out, he's just a regular guy. He's out at, all my friends say, well, you see him at Lowe's, and, I had friends that their kids played soccer with him out on the fields, and just story after story. You never hear a bad story. So I have a lot of people who have run into him, out in town, and then I have a couple of friends that have done work for him. Like I have one of my friends that kind of discovered me that tuned this piano in his house. But I haven't met him yet. I did get to talk to him on the phone in Charleston, in Savannah. I was there at a radio visit, and he called in to do a phoner, so I got to talk to Garth for a minute, and that was cool. It was sweet. He very sweet to me.
So, what is your path that led you to your first CD, Pictures, and your single is Making Love Tonight?
Yeah, Making Love. Yeah. So my new album, Pictures, is available, on iTunes. You can go to my website, www.jamesrobertwebb.com, and all that social media stuff, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. Get on there now and tag me. You can tell me you hate it or whatever, but you get on there and say something. Say you stink or whatever. James Robert Webb, all one word. So my album, Pictures, came out in April. That's been a labor of love over the last 2 years. I wrote some songs on it. I listened to a lot of songs again. Garth Brooks was a song man, and that's one of the things that's probably one of the reasons I gravitate to him, is he, not only is he an amazing writer, he was really good at picking out stuff, like an A&R, like they'd say, like the person that brings the songs to the record company, like, this is a good song, you need to cut this. So I've, been lucky to find a lot of great songs, even at my stage, in the career, just starting out, really. My single, Making Love Tonight, was a top 40 at Music Row, and we got top 60 on Billboard, which is kind of crazy for an independent artist. And I think since I'm not like an 18-year-old pretty-looking girl, or whatever, it might be a little bit easier for me. But there's about 10 million of them trying, everybody. So trying to find their way to the top and try to get a break. And so to have that happen at this stage is just a real blessing. And we have another single, How That Feels, that's out now. That's going up the charts. I think it's 43 on Music Row. And so that's like a dream come true, kind of, even at this point.
When you started your career, when things started really flowing, was it what you expected? Did you set higher expectations? Were some met? Were you, a learning curve is kind of what I'm getting at.
That's that's a good question. It's kind of like getting married. You're in love with this person, and they're in love with you, and you get married, you set the date, and you kind of think you have your dreams of what's going to happen. And after you get married, the big day comes, and then it's wonderful. And it's usually more wonderful than you expected, but it's always different somehow, you know what I mean? In some cases, for a lot of people, maybe completely different and horrible or whatever, but yeah. So, yeah, for me, I set high expectations, like, going back to Garth again, I mean, wearing Garth out here, really, but I mean, being from Oklahoma, the people where I work, they're always like, you're not going to close down. I'm like, no, not. I would have to be bigger than Garth to do that, So in some ways, you kind of think, well, what would it look from the top looking back down? Because really, for me, money and fame isn't really going to do it for me. What got me started in songwriting, with 3 little kids, my motivation is to do this is to touch people, because all the songs that touched me, whether it's fun, songs that you remember when you're having like your 5th birthday party or your 16th birthday party, or the first time you heard House That Built Me on the radio or something. Everybody kind of remembers those things, and to be part of somebody's life like that, and that's kind of the goal, is to write songs and sing songs like that, because it's all about the song.
Great. So you are very active on Twitter, your social media, and you bring in, you thank your fans. You're just.
Oh, are you kidding? Yeah.
Are there hindrances to the social media you find, and advantages?
Social media, my favorite's probably either Instagram or Twitter, because you're more direct to the people that are on there, but it's also hit or miss because they may not be on there at the time. And of course, are you going to think fans? I mean, I'm thinking because I'm glad that somebody's listening to what I'm doing. It's not like Blake Shelton. I can get on there and say, what's for dinner, and have 20 million people retweet it, which is awesome, because I love Blake.
Yeah.
Blake's one that we didn't mention from Oklahoma. Is just like, come on, So social media, I love that. My wife's on Facebook. She has we have all her family stuff is on her account. I try to keep that off of mine. And biggest hindrance for me is time to update it. So we have people that do stuff like Facebook and all that thing. But Twitter, I think, is good, because usually it feels more like a conversation, like you're talking.
It doesn't.
When you're
to me,
on
it's
Twitter,
faster moving.
Exactly. Yeah.
It's faster moving,
Yeah.
and I find myself more on that.
Yeah.
Because you can find stuff out, and I watch you, I follow you, and it's like boom, boom. He thanked them, and that little moment means so much to one fan. What you've done, wow, he tweeted me, and then when you go on a Facebook, they'll say, "Geez, Robert Wood retweeted me or thanked me."
I know.
And then it explodes. I know. I'm
just blown away that people are even listening. You know what I mean? Like on Twitter. I mean, or you meet people on Twitter incidentally. You're like,
yeah.
I met people. I have friends on Facebook that I met playing a game on Facebook. And some of those you get to know them through Facebook, because you see their family and you see them grow through things. I got a friend who I played a game on Words with Friends or something that we ended up being Facebook friends, and I saw her. She graduated high school, she went through college, or was in college and got married and all this kind of stuff, and she's having a baby. And it's I never knew her, but then we started talking more and more on Facebook. So, and she's a fan of my music now, which is kind of cool. So, it's Facebook, for example, is something where you might see people you haven't seen for 40 years or 10 years or whatever, I guess, or 100 years. Yeah. But whoever you went to high school with, I'm coming up on a reunion, I think, for high school, and some of the people I haven't seen in 10 years, but you connect with them on Facebook, which is kind of cool. But it's what I think is great for an artist. What's the coolest thing for me as an artist is that you connect with people that you've never met that are fans of your music, and you're like, somebody's out there listening, and that's man, are you kidding? That's one of the greatest feelings in the world is in music.
What is important to you in your songwriting process with the lyrics?
Yeah, well, for it to make sense, because country music. I listen to all kinds of stuff, and the reason I gravitated to country and songwriting is because the lyrics always make sense. They tell a story, or it's about something, or it's clever, like a clever twist on things. I'm trying to think of one right now, but we're always writing stuff like that. So usually we're trying to find a turn on a hook, I'm trying to think of something. I'm going blank now. Let's see, what's number one right now? It's probably a clever turn on a phrase, I'm completely bombing on this interview. I'll tell you what.
Honey, you're doing just fine. It's
they're gonna
early.
fire
It's
me.
morning. You're
They're going to take my CMA card away. and
That's
send
it.
me-
All right, let me
pack
call
me
him
up.
right now.
Exactly. That's right. Yeah. Be kicked out of the Grammys and all
No,
that
but
stuff.
I understand what
Yeah.
you, yeah.
Yeah. So for me, songwriting, I love writing, coming up with, like if we said water bottle, we're going to write a song called Water Bottle. Okay. So you might be thinking, okay, I'm going to write a song about this Dasani water bottle that I'm drinking from. And you can do all kinds of clever things, like Alcohol by Brad Paisley, right?
Yeah.
But the way he took that through every, that's a good example of a song, Alcohol, that Brad Paisley
Yeah.
did. So he took that, all the little things little pictures and snapshots of things that people do, or water. I mean,
Yeah.
he's like the king of those kind of songs.
Yeah.
I like to write stuff that is relatable. The thing that I look at my favorite artists, people that got me interested in songwriting. Most of them write songs that are applicable, whether you're 8 or 80, boy or girl, married or not, or a little kid or married couple. I mean, that's the challenge. It seems like we go through phases in any kind of format in radio where all the songs start to be chasing the demographic or the group of people that buy albums, which is usually the party crowd, the young kids in college, which is. I was there. I understand that. But I like the songs that are more universal, like something like The Dance. I mean, The Dance, for somebody dying from cancer or terminal disease, which is probably what, that song may be about. People relate to that if they know somebody's lost a grandparent or an aunt that had something like that. Or it can be a breakup when your boyfriend your little boyfriend and girlfriend when you're 10, break up, and it could mean something to you like that.
Yeah.
And to write songs like that that touch all those different, things in our human experiences, that's a big deal for me. It's writing songs about being human.
Yeah. What do we got going on for the rest of the year?
Well, you got time? How long you got here? I may not have anything. I mean,
After this, you're done.
Lose my federale hood. So we're finishing up CMA. We had a great CMA week.
Is this your first time at CMA Fest?
This is my second or third. This is my third time to be at CMA Fest. This is my first year to be on like an official CMA stage.
Have you
So that was
Have you ever come as a fan?
I'd never come as a fan before, and so for me, coming the first time as an artist, it was kind of like coming as a fan too. That's one of my favorite things about CMA Fest is like, I'll be signing in the line, and I try to ask everybody, you come here all the time, or and every time somebody says it's their first time, it's like, okay, stop, because you're about to go to church, because it's a real experience for them. It's a very special time, and I try to take extra time, with them on that, because and cherish that moment, I try to do that with all the fans.
You always
too.
tell them you're not going to be able to do everything.
You're not.
So you have to
No.
kind of focus on what it is. Your trip is what you make it.
That's right. I said that about an hour ago. We had a breakfast with a fan club, and two of them were ones that won a radio contest with a station, and they were here on their 1-year anniversary, and it's their first time in Nashville, first time at CMA Fest, and they're saying, well, we were trying to get this and trying to go see this. I said, you'll be back. Take it all in, enjoy what you're doing, and don't beat yourself up that you didn't get to everything, because it's like Thanksgiving dinner. You can't eat everything at once. You got a little sample.
But you can try.
All that, yeah. But to your question, the rest of the year after this, next week I'm playing Music on the Mulberry. It's a music festival out in Ozark, Arkansas, which is not too far from where I was born in Fort Smith. I think Randy Rogers Band, Trailer Choir, Lance Carpenter, a bunch of people. It's going to be a great time. And then the next week I'm back here in Nashville. I got selected to play Summer NAMM, like the big.
Oh, that's great
I was
honor.
like, I know. I'm like a lot. Nobody outside of Nashville or outside the music industry knows what that is, but it's like it's a big deal. I was like, because it started because I was like, I would love to go to NAMM and be some of these guitar guys and stuff, but if we're looking into the membership and you can't join it unless you're like selling stuff. They're like, which is kind of unusual, but then they invited me, so I was like, the Lord was working on that, I guess. That was so I get to go there anyway. And then we got stuff going on
New
all
music
the time.
later on?
New music, we just released this album in April, but I've tracked about 10 songs on the next album, and we're writing every day basically, and writing with some great people like Alex Dooley and Jerry Salley at Banner Music, and it's whittling them down and finding outside songs. I found this really song I love from, remember Larry Wayne Clark passed away? Like he's awesome. I found this great song I think we're going to cut. But yeah, I mean, I love that about as much as playing is trying to create the music like on the record, because that for me, that's where the magic is, because you're always playing that, even after the concert.
Well, James Robert Webb, you people need to find this gentleman. He's very talented, and we're so happy he got to spend time with us today. Enjoy the rest of your CMA Fest,
will.
and thanks for stopping by.
Thank you so much for
Thank
having
you,
me on here.
darling.